This is not hearsay. I have friends working in New York City, a couple of hospitals in particular. I have spoken to nurses all across the country, and I'm hearing different things. There's some similarities to what's happening in New York at some hospitals across the country, but for the most part, it seems to be New York. I'm just going to cut to the chase. The medical staff is killing the patients. It's not COVID. So you have nurses, medical professionals of all kinds afraid to speak out and tell the truth about what they're seeing in their emergency rooms, in their ICUs, all of those things. And I'm going to go into how bad it is in a second. It's gut-wrenching. And then you have the other 50% that are so terrified of COVID that they've thrown all critical thinking out the window. Basically, you go into the hospital with any type of upper respiratory issue, they immediately treat you COVID. Let's say a 35-year-old man walks into the hospital, has no previous conditions, is a healthy man, just has some respiratory issues. If his oxygen drops below 92%, and with over 6 liters of oxygen, they're venting. They're completely bypassing BiPAP, CPAP, all of it. Their justification for bypassing CPAP is that they don't want the open air circuit, okay? Whatever. So they're completely going away from BiPAP. They're going straight to venting. The medical community knows that venting people is typically a last-ditch effort. We know that the second a person is vented, they're saying that over 75% of patients that are being vented are not surviving. So a 35-year-old walks into the hospital, consents to being vented because they're so freaking scared of something that we now know is as deadly as the flu, that they're letting them vent them and put them into a medically induced coma or just give them sedatives. This is how they're treating patients in these hospitals. They are not giving hydroxychloroquine. They actually laughed when they were asked about it. They are not giving Z-Paks. They're not giving anything that we are seeing working all around the world. They have everybody on that is COVID and non-confirmed COVID, like that both, and these people are together. They're in rooms together. They're giving them broad spectrum antibiotics and sedatives and venting them and then leaving them to die. A direct quote from one of the charge nurses: when somebody had a fever of 104 was, "Oh, we're not going to medicate him. He's dying." Excuse me? I'm sorry, what? You're not even going to try? They're being told to not perform any life-saving, no CPR, nothing that is going to be basically like you signed a DNR. They're not doing the rapid tests that are giving you results in 45 minutes. They are using the ones that they have to send into the labs. And again, when asked why and how long those results take, they laughed and said 5 days if we're lucky. So what they're doing is they have COVID patients that are confirmed COVID, and then they have rule out COVID. They're ruling everything else out and assuming they're COVID, rule out COVID. They're putting them in rooms together. These nurses are in the same protective equipment all day long. The only thing that changes is their gloves. If you know anything about cross-contamination or any of that, even the slightest bit, you know how bad that is. If you are a nurse, if you are a CNA, if you are any of those things, you know that that is it's completely ridiculous to be venting somebody. These people are speaking in full sentences. They're alert, they're talking. They're just having some upper respiratory issues. You think that everybody's dying because of this COVID, when really it's the vents that are killing people. The problem is the oxygen level in the blood. Okay, that's the problem. This is not every doctor that is thinking critically and blowing the whistle is coming out and saying this is not ARD. This is not what we're used to seeing, okay? Usually when people are that severe, they can't speak to you. They are in distress. They can't breathe. These people are speaking sentences. These people are alert. They are not, it's not like they are struggling. The trucks outside with the bodies are real. They're very much real. Okay, first of all, if you guys were that concerned about COVID, why do you have a bunch of bodies that are infected with COVID just sitting in a truck outside? So it seems like this is political and that this is about money, because they get a lot of money for every COVID patient and they don't even have to test. A lot of them are not even testing. They are a rule out COVID. So now they can claim that they're a COVID patient. No autopsies are happening. Perfect scenario. They can't have guests there. So guess what? You don't have an advocate. You don't have a family member there with you. You don't have anybody to say, wait a second, something's wrong here. Like, if this is that bad, why are you in the same protective gear? Why are you not giving my spouse what we know works? Doctors are saying when they use the Z-Pak and hydroxychloroquine that they're seeing their patients recover in a matter of 48 hours, 72 hours, just completely better. People are dying and they are leaving them on hospital beds for hours. Hours with a patient in the same room. The charting is horrible. Horrible, okay? Horrible charting. They're barely charting anything. If somebody codes, they're not responding. If your loved one codes, they are not responding. The drips are being put outside the hospital room. If you've ever been in a hospital for any situation, you know your drip is right there. The drip is being put all the way outside the door. How are your nurses supposed to properly assess you if your drips are all the way outside the door? They're not even going in there at all. There are hundreds of nurses sitting in New York hotels on FEMA's dime that are not being used, while the hospitals are saying we are slammed, and some of them are. The nurses are freaking exhausted because they're venting everybody and killing everybody without even realizing they're doing it. And I can't imagine looking back 10, 20 years from now when everybody sees the truth and thinking, oh my God, I was a nurse, I was involved in that, and I thought I was helping people. It seems like this is happening in New York in the lower income hospitals. They're getting a lot of money for every patient that is COVID. They don't have to test them to prove they're COVID. They're getting even more money for everybody they're putting on vents. This is about money, and it seems like this is about politics. Like they want to make the numbers look high. They want to make Trump look bad. I just cannot believe that this is happening in 2020. The nurses are having to sign non-disclosures before going into these hospitals, being told that they can't take any pictures of the hospital, take any videos of the hospital, like any of that stuff, which, okay, sure, like I understand that because of patient privacy, right? But then at the same time, you're already sworn to that. And we also have all these nurses recording themselves on frickin' TikTok dancing in the hospitals. But for some reason, these hospitals in particular, they're having to sign non-disclosures that they can't take any pictures or videos of the hospital. That doesn't make any sense. If you are a nurse, if you are a doctor and you are working there, if you are seeing any of the same things happening, please speak out. Reach out to me. I can connect you with other people, with other nurses, with other doctors, and help you make sure your voices are heard.